Okay. So, here's the deal. I'm not sure if a lot of you got to see my initial video of what I've been dealing with. Basically talking about prescription drugs, psychiatrists, the medical industry, and lawyers. I know it probably seemed a little intense. Like I said before, I'm pretty pissed off about the situation, and I have a lot of deep-rooted issues that go back, 7 years. Basically, I'm still trying to stay in contact with lawyers, get a little information, doing a little research myself, and I keep receiving these letters, emails from lawyers basically rejecting the case, telling me they hope that I continue to pursue whatever it is I'm trying to pursue, and that, they're not saying I don't have any merit to sue, but they don't want anything to do with it. And again, this is where the frustration comes in. I can't figure out what it is about these lawyers that claim they practice malpractice, but yet when they get an opportunity like this to actually step up and make a difference and change somebody else's life, help somebody, help families, they reject it. I'm starting to think lawyers are just as crooked as doctors, and it's just one big puzzle that I feel like I'm going crazy trying to figure it out. I have a pretty solid case with my mother, and it's not about the money. It's not about the money. If I could have a lawyer just to help me make this, just to bring this situation to light, to help someone else, I would be happy with that. It's not about the money. I'm a business owner. I make decent money. I take care of my family. I do what I have to do. I don't want you to get the wrong idea and think that I'm doing this trying to get paid, because it has nothing to do with that. It's simply me wanting some kind of revenge for what they've done to my mother. I didn't get too much into it in my initial video because I wanted to just give you a quick run through of what I've been dealing with. And when I was talking about this, I was, kind of hitting the main points and just trying to give you a little insight on some frustrations that I've been going through. But basically this started a little longer than 7 years ago, when my mother had lost my grandmother. Her mother passed away, and my mother started playing around with pain pills, and she ended up going to see a psychiatrist to talk about her pain. And of course, he put her on Xanax, and everything kind of spiraled downhill from that point. My mother's whole being changed in a way of, she started being really emotional, not in a sad way, but more so, I guess you could say, a mean way. The Xanax and the pain pills made her really angry, really moody. You would have thought she was bipolar, but she wasn't bipolar. She was just medicated, blood pressure all over the place, and at that time we were trying to get that psychiatrist to get my mother off the medications, and of course he was really screwed up himself. From what I know and I've heard about him during that time, he was an addict himself, and you could pretty much go to him to get anything you wanted, and he was well known around this town. My dad was a straight he was a hard-working man. He was a engineer, very successful, very smart. He was a provider for the family. He did everything for my brothers and I, and he took care of my mom. Well, he had gotten sick and basically had to get heart surgery and was forced to early retirement. I believe it was 2 years. He worked for this company, I believe, for 34 years and was supposed to retire on his 36th year. It was Georgia Power. He worked for Georgia Power, Southern Company. And he worked there for 34 years and was supposed to retire 36 years. And basically they fired him. They gave him an opportunity to take an early retirement, to resign early with a pension of basically, I think it was $1,200 a month, which he was making that a week. Or he would just be fired because the health issues that he had from the heart problems, he couldn't, just jump up out of bed every morning and get ready for work and go to work. He had to leave work. He was sick. I don't know if you're familiar with, people who have heart surgery, but it triggers a lot of problems. In my dad's case, it triggered ulcerative colitis, which meant your colon is basically eating itself. It's not cancer, but it's almost like cancer. And he just had a lot of personal issues when he was at work. He was having to go to the bathroom every 15 minutes, things like that. He just couldn't be at work, but he didn't want to leave work because he didn't want to lose his job. Well, eventually he lost his job. Long story short, he got depressed. On top of being depressed, he was dealing with my mom. I dealt with that, my mom's anger towards him, and they fought a lot. She was having her issues with her medications and taking everything out on him, and make a long story short, my dad committed suicide. Once my dad committed suicide, we put my mom in rehab because we wanted her off the medications, and this is where we land at the 7-year mark. This is when all this began. And we put her in a rehabilitation center in Atlanta, Georgia, to get her off the pain pills and the Xanax. And we were successful. She was off. And this wasn't even 2 weeks after we buried my father before we put her in there. So it was a lot for me to endure, to have to put my dad, underground, and to basically have my mom institutionalized. But I did it anyway because it's just something that had to be done. So she got a rehab, and she was doing great. We felt like we had her back, but then it set in that my dad was gone. At that point in time, she started, messing around with pills again, and she was still on a particular medication. And well, she wasn't on this medication; she'd come off this medication, but at this point in time, we had to put her back in rehab in Atlanta. So we took her back to the same place, and we did this probably for about maybe 2 or 3 months, back and forth, until she finally stayed. They hooked her up with a psychiatrist. So the psychiatrist decides to come in and treat her as a mental patient. They took her, from being a prescription drug addict and started treating her as a mental patient, saying that she was mental and she needed to be treated in a mental facility. Now again, this is not my mother, but no one wanted to hear what we had to say. So what they did was, before they put my mom in a mental facility, they had her on this medication called Geodon. And Geodon is what I was talking about in the initial video. This particular drug is geared for schizophrenia. Basically, if you don't do drugs, if you've never had it before, you could open up a capsule and pour just a little bit on your tongue, and it would probably knock you out for 2 days. That's how powerful it is, which is what we initially gave it to her for in the beginning. The doctor did, because she was suffering from my dad's suicide, and she couldn't handle it. So they had to give her something to, to basically comatose her. Nothing we ever thought would be permanent, Well, anyway, so the doctor decided to treat her as a mental patient. This was a psychiatrist. Now, again, she's in a rehabilitation center to get off of pain pills and Xanax. They started treating her as a mental patient. Okay, so they have her on this Geodon, along with other medications, and Zoloft, Clonopin, which is just like Xanax, but and the thing they tell you now is it's non-addictive, it's not a narcotic or whatever. It's all bullshit. So they decided my mom needed shock treatment to the brain. Shock treatment now. Basically laying on the table, hooking whatever you call them, the electric pads or whatever, that stimulate your brain. And they shocked her. 7 different treatments. Of course she consented to it, because hell, she was trying to escape the pain. She was trying to escape the pain of losing my dad. And it backfired on her, because they enabled her and her addiction. They wanted this. My mother had great insurance. My dad had great insurance. And my mom, of course, it was money. So they shocked her brain 7 times. Once that was done, they put her in a mental institution in Atlanta, Georgia. And this mental institution was people who really had schizophrenia, people who couldn't have light bulbs in their room because they would take the light bulbs out of the ceiling to cut themselves. This is true. So you can imagine what it was like for me to go visit my mom at a place like this, and to come home and go to sleep every night knowing that she was living in a place like this. And there was absolutely nothing we could do, because the medication was so deep into her, and the system, their claws were so into her, we couldn't just pull her out because it would have killed her. And it's a rule of thumb. I mean, it's a buddy system. They know once they get them in there, you would think you could just go and stop it, but it's not. It doesn't work that way. Number one, you have your mom who's addicted to these drugs, and she will protect them drugs. Whoever's in your family that's on these drugs will protect them, and you will be the enemy, whether you're a child, or parent, brother, sister, whatever. You will be the enemy. Anytime you try to challenge anyone who's an addict, you become the enemy. They're just unable to see what you're trying to do for them. It's basically like being possessed. So that's the deal with where this all began. Finally, we got her out of the mental institution, and we got her back here home, and we took her. She got in with a psychiatrist here, who I think she was referred to by her prior psychiatrist. I'm not sure how she met the psychiatrist, but he was not under her insurance policy. She just knew that he was willing to give her the medication that he sent her home on, which is Geodon. So the first thing I do, I go with my mom, and I sit in front of this man. She done seen him maybe 4 or 5 times, and she was all in love with him and talking good about him. And at that point in time, I knew I was up to shit creek without paddle. I knew we had a problem. So when I met this guy, I felt nothing but pure evil. And I'm a pretty bold guy, and I basically went in the office and told him, look, this is the problem. My mother's on Geodon. I'm thinking these doctors are here to help you get better. I said, I already know the side effects of it. I know what it's for, and I know what it's going to do to her if we don't get her off. I told him. And he looked at me and said, no, I'm not going to keep your mother on this medication. He said, I know from experience. he said she won't be on this medication for more than 4 months. He said because what happens is once you take this particular medication, Geodon, he said you start developing this thing called the mask face. And I can remember him distinctly sitting in front of me doing his hands like this, the mask face, which is a face that your face transforms into a mask face. It basically emotionless. You know how when you look at a mask, it doesn't smile, it doesn't frown, it's just emotionless. That's what a mask face is. It's a face without emotion. And that's what happened to my mother. That's one of the first signs she started showing. And the non-emotion part, yeah, this medication killed every emotion she had in her body. She couldn't cry, she couldn't laugh, she couldn't do anything. She couldn't feel anything. She just wanted to sit and she was basically, she's basically for the past 6 years been just a sitting duck. The only time she would leave the house would be to go to the doctor. So we tried to convince her to leave the doctor alone. We called the doctor, never got any phone calls back, but his wife runs, she's a receptionist up there or whatever. And she would take the calls and she would listen to us, and act all concerned and, something was going to be done. And, this went on for, 5-6 years. Same thing. Never one time they did anything. And I don't want to get too caught up into that because my biggest issue here is I can't figure out why it's so hard to find a lawyer. I don't understand what the hell do we have malpractice lawyers for? I mean, what are you guys for? Are you like undercover working for these drug companies? Are you, what is it? Are you afraid? Are you afraid you're not going to make that much money? Or are you afraid that you're actually going to help somebody? I don't understand. I live in Georgia. I'm from the South. I've read about lawsuits. I've read about malpractice suits. Hell, I read about them every day. I'm so absorbed into this situation. That's all I do. I'm consumed with it. I call lawyers every day. I get denied. I get people act like they're interested. Never hear back from them. So I just need to know what's the problem. I mean, what are you afraid of? Why do you have websites out there saying malpractice, malpractice, malpractice? And once you get a chance to actually help somebody who's really suffered from malpractice, really suffered. My mom has clearly suffered. This man had her on his medication for 6 years to help her, and clearly it's done nothing but destroy her. And now that she's off of it, she can't even open her damn mouth to take a bite of her food. And she can't even shower without feeling like she's suffocating under the water. She's going through pure hell. She's been sober now for how long has it been now, Heather?
I think we're going on 3 weeks.
Off of the Geodon.
3 weeks.
3 weeks? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Going on a month.
She's going on a month. So she's still having a very hard time. But the permanent damage is already obvious. And she knows she's scared for her life at this point in time. She knows now. She knows what the medication did to her. She knows that what the doctor should have done. And I've pulled up, I've read everything about malpractice, everything that falls under the realm of malpractice, everything. And 9 times out of 10, when people actually sue for malpractice, it just takes one thing that the doctor did wrong, and lawyers jump on it. This particular case, this doctor did everything wrong. Everything from the beginning, all the way from the top. There's a list. Did he bring a physician in one time to check my mother's health? I bet he never even had my mother's blood pressure taken in his office. He saw my mom go from driving herself to the office, walking in there, sitting down talking to him, to going in there, sitting there and staring at the wall, and did nothing. He basically just gave her more medication. So, what do we have lawyers for? This really puzzles me. It scares the hell out of me because I have children. And what are we supposed to do? You cut on the TV and every other commercial is about medication. You know, like I told you in the first video, you know, your kids are gonna, you know, they're gonna have to have a medication to wake up, medication to go to sleep, medication to shower. You know, they're just slinging this stuff around like candy because they want you hooked on it. They need the money. It's the money. It's so evil. You know. I mean, the people that really need medications, the real schizophrenia, those are the people that really need psychiatrists. But the psychiatrists don't do anything for them. They give them medication, put them in a mental home, and you know, work from that angle. They don't want you to get better to succeed in real life everyday activity. They take a completely normal woman, don't you see, a completely normal lady, and fix her where she could not succeed in a normal everyday activity. So what the hell makes you think they're going to help somebody who's really sick? I mean, I don't understand why these lawyers are rejecting me, and it's really pissing me off. And it really shows me how weak. It's just pure weakness. I mean, you know, you go to law school, you want to make your parents proud, you want to work for this company, you want to work for that company, you get a degree in law, and now you know, you get so caught up in the freaking system. It's all about money, fear, you know, the buddy-buddy system. Step outside the box, you know, do something good. Don't fall into the way the system programs you to do. You're falling right into their traps. You know, and it's going to bite you in the ass in the end. Because, you know, what gets me is today people seem to forget that there is a God. There is more. People, you know, people should have morals. I mean, there are consequences. You can live an evil lifestyle, and you can get caught up in the money, and you can do this and that. But let me tell you something. Believe it or not, I don't care what you believe in. But I'm telling you right now, you will see there will be consequences to every bad thing you have done. And there will also be consequences for every good thing you have done. So the question is, what have you done? You go to law school, you do this, you do that, and you get a chance to actually help somebody. And like I said again, this isn't about the money. I don't want people watching this video think this dude's just driving it into him because he wants to get paid. Let me tell you something, I don't give a shit. Okay? This man right here can live in a cardboard box and he'll be fine. That does not bother me one bit. Like I said, it's revenge. I just need this man to pay. And there's other ways I would like for him to pay, but like I said, I have children. I don't want to end up in jail. And it's come pretty close. It's come pretty close. I've had to physically hold myself back from doing, you have no idea. You just think about it. Just imagine your mom or your son or your daughter, and you know that somebody has them hostage and they're torturing them. Okay, this is the same scenario whether you believe it or not. This is what this man did to me. But he did it legally. He did it, you know, legally. He did what the system allows him to do. But he made a lot of mistakes during all this. Number one, he neglected my mom's health. Number two, he never brought a physician in there. Number three, he kept her on the one medication that caused permanent damage and did not ever one time try to take her off. And I'm in the process right now of getting all the prescriptions that he's prescribed her. And when I do the video on that, that's going to blow your freaking mind. So, I don't know what it's going to take. You know, I'm going to try to keep you guys posted. And, you know, I encourage anyone who's going through this to contact me. I will be more than happy to talk to you about it. To join me in this fight. You'll have a situation, you want to speak out. You can speak out through me. I can help you. You can help me. You know, we can fight this fight. If anything, get the message out there. You know, it might stop one parent from taking their child to see a psychiatrist. It might stop one child from taking a parent to see a psychiatrist. If anything, somebody can be helped from this. the lawyers are they obviously have no interest in anything. I mean, it just sickens me. I have hope and faith, and I know that there's somebody out there that's willing to step up. And I'm so anxious to meet this person. I'm so anxious, but I feel it, and I know they exist. That's why I keep doing this. For you lawyers who were sending me letters back and emails back, declining my case and everything, I feel sorry for you. You're weak little ants in the system. You think you're the big dogs, but you're not. The big dogs are the ones that aren't afraid, that step out on faith, and they want to use their education, and they want to test themselves, they want to push themselves, they want to succeed in something that nobody else has succeeded in. They want to go past their boundary. Okay, you can sit your asses behind your little desk and pick and choose what case you want to take and go with the buddy system and call yourself a lawyer, but let me tell you something, man, that's not a lawyer. There's nothing about that. It's right, and you can go home and pat yourself on the back and do what you want to do, and I don't know how you look at yourself in the mirror every morning. I don't even know why the hell you went to law school. There's not much more I really need to talk about tonight. Like I said, I just had a little frustrations today because I received another letter from a lawyer, and it's actually a lawyer out of Atlanta, Georgia, that I thought that they were actually interested, and they kind of gave me a little false hope. He didn't have the dignity to call me up. He sent me an email. So, and I will, before it's over with, I will be giving you the names of these little pissant lawyers. You will be getting their names, because I don't care. I don't have nothing to hide, and I have nothing they can get from me. I don't care. I will name drop. I will do whatever it takes. It does not matter to me. I don't have nothing to lose at this point. All I have to gain is my mother's health, and that's what I'm fighting for. Either way, I'm going to keep pushing for my mom. She's a month in recovery right now. She's still having a lot of issues from her permanent damage. She's still having eating problems. She still can't get her mouth open. She can't breathe. She's having to help her breathe. And the sad thing is, I can't take her to a hospital. I actually took her to a hospital this weekend, to the emergency room. The first thing the nurse said, what's that nurse? The first nurse you talked, the triage nurse, first nurse, when they finally took her back, first thing he said was, "Oh man, well we have some great meds here." First thing they said. Okay, I didn't take my mom there to put her on some medications, some feel good shit to basically dull the pain that's gonna come back even stronger. Okay, that's what I'm saying, people. If you want help, you're not gonna find it. You have to do something. We have to create some kind of system, where there are doctors out there that really want to help. You tell me this: is there any doctor out there anywhere that can help you by taking you off of medication? That's willing to take you off of all medications? Can you go to rehab addicted to pills and drugs and leave without being on any medication? No. Why? Because it's a practice. They get paid to practice on you. That's why they call it a practice. They are practicing medications, and the more they practice, the more they get paid. It is their profession. It is their job. They don't want you healthy. They don't want you sober. They don't want you clean. They don't want that. I mean, we need to, find doctors who believe in true sobriety, who can actually really, I'm not a doctor. My education is not that great. But I'm going to tell you right now, I can size somebody up in a minute. I can tell you if you need to be on medication, or if you're just having a problem that you just need to work through. Okay? Come on. It's not that complicated. You can fall into the little bullshit lingo and let them try to wire your brain and program you like society wants you to think. Or you can open your eyes and wise up and understand that the body is designed to heal itself. You know, there are people that are born with disabilities, you know, but the bottom line is, you know, if you're healthy, you're healthy. You may have some mental issues. They may stem from you growing up. They may stem from seeing something you seen when you grew up. But these medications they put you on, nothing will heal that. Those problems will never go away. These medications are just going to dull you and remove you from reality. They're just going to dull the pain, anxiety, whatever it is you're having, and they're going to remove you from reality. Just enough so you can get by. But it's still there. There's nothing that will heal it. So, you know, these medications, it's basically a crutch. And sometimes you may need a little crutch. We all do. But to keep you on something that is clearly not for you, and to watch you deteriorate in front of your face, and to see you lose every bit of character in your body, to see this medication totally destroy who you are, your physical being, and make you lose everything in your life, including your husband, and to sit there and think that the medication is helping is just crazy. So, if there's any lawyers out there who feel like they want to be a part of this, you know, I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit until something happens. This is my new hobby. Step up. I want to meet you. You know, we can work together. I've got my ducks in a row. It's black and white. You know, all I need is a courtroom. If there's any individuals out there who are struggling with addiction, you know, you need to listen to what I'm saying. You're destroying yourself, and you're destroying everybody around you, and it's okay. Addiction is a disease. It's something that you can't control. If you tell yourself you can't control it. But you can. You put it in somebody else's hands and let somebody else control your addiction, it's not a good thing. You're going to end up on even if it's street drugs. If you're addicted to street drugs, they're going to get you off that. They're going to put you on, you know, medical drugs, you know, pharmaceutical drugs. You know why? Because they don't want these little, you know, guys out here in corners making the money they could be making. You know, so they're going to pull you in the system any way they can. Clean yourself up. Stay away from psychiatrists. You got problems, you go see a counselor. You go to church. Pray. Talk to somebody else who's been down that road. Don't fall. Do not fall short. Stay focused and do not get caught with a psychiatrist. Unless you have schizophrenia. Unless you think about, you know, killing somebody, killing yourself, killing your children. And even at that point in time, you probably need to stay away from psychiatrists. Psychiatrists are just shit. They're no good. They're useless. All they are just, you know, they just want to write you medication and get you out the door, get you addicted, come back, collect your money. I can guarantee you, my mom's been seeing a psychiatrist for 7 years. I can guarantee you he doesn't even know all three of her sons' names. I can guarantee you he don't even know what kind of car she drives. I can guarantee you he don't even know how old my mom is. Okay? I mean, it is what it is. So, that's pretty much it for today. My main focus now is lawyers. You know, I want to pick on the lawyers a little bit because I'm just so anxious to meet the one that actually has the balls to step up. And I'm really disappointed in the lawyers that I've contacted. You know, I'm going to keep it light. I'm not going to say too much right now, but I will be coming out with more before this is over with. And basically, I just wanted to get that off my mind tonight. So, like I said, if you got anything you want to say, please contact me. If you want to join me in this fight, contact me. Like I said, we all have issues. I'm just giving you a little bit of insight of what I'm going through, and I hope this gets through to somebody. Have a good night, and thanks for being patient with me and listening to everything I have to say. And I will be coming back and letting you know more of what's going on.